A lot of families are up here for the 4th of July holiday, and traveling with your baby can be a real challenge. Everything from packing to driving to sleep schedules can be a real headache. Here to help us plan ahead for a better vacation is Jessica Begley, founder of the Baby Sleep Geek. Thank you for joining us this morning. It is a challenge to travel with a baby. So how do you even plan ahead?
Right, well, many families are nervous about traveling and how that may disrupt their baby's sleep schedule. So really, the most important piece to think about before you travel is to keep your baby well rested ahead of time. A well-rested baby will be able to adjust to slight changes in schedule that are inevitable when you travel. If your child's chronically overtired, it's just going to lead to a mess.
A lot of families bring a pack and play. I know my son really doesn't enjoy sleeping in that. So how do you get them to adjust?
Yeah, so many families ask me that. Should they let their child sleep in a pack and play before the trip? And that's a really great idea, but not at the expense of keeping your baby well rested. So you can try a couple of naps a week before your travel, but if your child is just not having it, not sleeping well in the pack and play, pack it back up and wing it when you get there.
When should you travel? What is the best time to travel? Do you travel around your child's sleep schedule?
Yeah, so many families try to time their travel around naps, and this works really well if your child's a strong car sleeper. I know my daughter doesn't nap on the car at all, so what I do is I time naps for when she's well rested. So either immediately after we wake up in the morning or after one of her naps.
And what about leaving at bedtime?
Yeah, many families do leave at bedtime, hoping that their child will sleep through the whole travel until they get to their destination. And what can happen with this, while children may sleep in the car, the bright lights from the highway can actually disrupt their sleep pattern and make it more difficult to sleep at their destination. And while it may be easy to transfer your child from the car seat into the crib, if they do wake up in that process, you're now in an environment that maybe is really exciting or new and potentially scary. It can make it difficult for the baby to fall back to sleep for bedtime. And I recommend getting there in enough time so that your child can explore the space and become comfortable with their new sleeping space.
You talked about being excited, and parents are excited too. How hard is it to keep your child on a schedule, which is so important for kids?
We tend to have overscheduled lives as it is, and when we're on vacation, we feel the need to get out and see all the sights while we're there. And really, it's important to respect your child's need for sleep. You wouldn't expect your child to skip a meal on vacation. Don't expect them to skip a nap on vacation. Try to respect that as much as possible. And if your child is on 2 naps, it's really important to keep that first nap. That morning nap tends to be the most restorative. So stay in for that nap, let that nap happen, and then that second nap can be on the go. It's kind of a bridge to bedtime. If your child's on 1 nap, don't be tempted to skip it. This is going to lead to overtiredness, epic meltdowns, and a really hard time getting your baby to bed. So maintain that nap, and even if your child doesn't sleep and they just rest during this period, it will help them regroup.
Last 2 questions. Should you bring things that remind them of home, their crib?
Definitely. You want to recreate your home sleeping environment as much as possible. So some of those things are obvious. Maybe your baby's lovey or a stuffed animal that they sleep with, but also bring crib sheets so that your child has a familiar pattern that they're sleeping on or a familiar feel. And then you really want to keep that sleep environment as conducive to sleep as possible. So there's some things that you can do when you get there to make sure that happens.
Last question, when you get back home, what should you do? Should you go right back to your schedule, or you should kind of go quick with what do you call, should you just go right back into your schedule?
Yeah, so sleep is going to be disturbed on vacation. There's no way around that. And the bottom line is you need to do what you need to do while you're on vacation to stay well rested and get sleep. So sometimes that means going off schedule a bit, or maybe laying with your baby or rocking your baby to sleep. The most important thing that's going to keep this from being a problem long term is that you need to get back to basics as soon as you're home. Don't delay. Start the first night that you're there. This sets the expectation that things may be different when you're traveling, but when you're home, you need to go back to the home expectations.
Jessica, thank you so much for joining us this morning, and we'll be right back.